looking at is the screen that would be in the receiver station. This is where livestock is received out of the trucks and put into the pen. Each operator has a login menu where he logs in or logs out. I just logged out from there. I'm going to log a new person in. It welcomes our new user on, and it gives him rights to all the different tabs that he has user now acknowledgement of being able to run. There's one person that will have master and be able to tell every operator what streams they're able to run in and which ones they are not. For the cattle coming in, we're going to be using the receiving tab, which we're open to. Now, what we're going to do is say that we have our time and date is right here. We're going to have our receiver number, which is going to show up in the new box here. This is the number that the USDA gives the packing plant to start with, and it's a sequential number. So every number of animals that come in, every truckload, is going to have a new receiver number. We are then going to pick the customer whose cattle they belong to. In this case, we're going to say Ken Mahaney. Ken's owner ID is here in the picture, 1232. His name and his addresses would go in these lines. We then have an origin place so that we can determine the city and state at which these cattle came from. So we're going to say these came from Dallas, Texas. They came in on trucking companies. In this case, we will enter Mike's Trucking. The license plate number on that truck. And the driver's name. And these cattle were received by Dick. Now we are putting these animals in a pen number. So we're going to go in pen number 23. The total number of cows that are going in that pen, we're going to say there's 5 cows. For this particular customer, he'd like to know how many of these are dairy. So of these 5, there's 1 cow in here that is a dairy. They brought in 2 bulls, both of which are dairy. And they are in pen number 2. So we have a total of 7 heads, and 3 of those 7 belong on our dairy. We have a place right here to enter comments about this load, so the person unloading, he might be able to say that an animal had a limp, or he was bleeding, or had some damage in shipment. This list also picks up whether the operator has a bone meal blood certificate on file that is current, and also if he is a residue violator. So here you can see where a residue violator pops up in red. We're going to go with these cattle now, and we're going to say let's add and update these to our yard. Right now it's saying please select the customer's origin. Okay, when I changed operators, we went back to Dallas, Texas. We add an update. It says this customer is a residue violator. Do you still wish to accept the load? Certain people, we're going to tell them to take those animals along back. You have the option of saying, yes, I will take those animals. When you do, it's going to ask you to print a receiving pen. This is the tag. This is the receiver sheet that's going to be printed out for each batch of livestock coming in. This particular one is showing that the cattle were owned by Sean Borman. They came from Dallas, Texas. His address, trucking company that hauled them, who the trucker was. Then we asked them the cool ownership authorization agent shipment station. And we asked them if they are Angus cattle, if they are truly from an Angus influence cattle, if they are of black color. And that trucker would sign that if known. One of these is going to get printed for each pen that the cattle are in. One of these is going to get printed for the trucker to take back to the cattle owner. and there'll be a paper copy that follows these into the office. As you can see, everything that is needed is going to be listed on here. And that pretty much ends that sheet. So each time a pen load of cattle comes in, or pigs, we're going to be able to pull that information in here and send it. That'd be a cut there. Now we're going to start the kill sequence. Once these cattle are in the pen, we'll have a pen inventory. The upper chart here is showing what pens our cattle are in and bulls are in, and we have the number of cows. We have the number of these breed cows are basically the dairy breed, and the number of bulls. From here is where we create our kill sequence. So from these load that we just brought in, number 1024, we had 5 cows and we had 2 bulls. If I want to take only the bulls or only the cows, we're just going to bring those and we're going to update that, and those 5 cows came down into this list. This is a list that you're going to be able to have your pen man go out, and he's going to grab those cattle in that order out of each pen to get them in the lineup over to the retaining area to be slaughtered. If I want, I can now go back and find one of these other pens, and we're going to take those and put those in line, and now I can come back and put the bulls right behind. You can see we can create this. If we decide that we'd like to do things in a little different order, we can highlight on one of those, and using this arrow key we can move it up to the top of our list, and now that load will be at the top of our list. As this list is created, they're taken out of the pen inventory available to draw from. This sheet, as these cattle are taken out of the pens, the receiver sheet that was put on the pen when the cattle were put in there will follow those cattle to the restrainer chute, and they will be handed to the guy at the knock box there to enter the proper receiver number with the proper number of head that are coming to him. As cattle are coming through the knock box, this is a 920i human interface module is going to be out by that restrainer box. When the cattle come in, we'll be entering the receiver number. So we're going to have a receiver number, and we are using number 1018. And we have 2 head. Actually, we have 1 cow and we have 2 bulls. 2 cows and 2 bulls. We have 4 head coming. We entered our receiver number and it's asking me for the count. How many head are in there? So we have 4 head. We entered that. Now it's showing me that we have 4 head total. And we are now, the first one is coming through. As that animal is being, after it is knocked, it's hung up, the trolley will go past a number of switches up on the rail to let us know that that animal has indexed into the slaughter process. As each one, switch 2, by having 2 switches up there, the logic keeps everything in order so we don't have a misconception of getting the wrong animal or the wrong count. When the last animal is done, you'll hear a buzzer go off to alert the operator that he should be looking for a new sheet with a new number to enter for the next batch. The next batch in is going to be number 1023, so we have a receiver number 1023, enter, and the count on 1023 is 12 head. And now we're ready for the next ones to come in. And as each one goes by, switch 1, switch 2, you'll see the count increment up just like it did on the previous one. This will keep the operator and the head count in rotation and in control. This is the blood station. At this station is where the animal has been, he's been knocked, he's been hung, he has been bled. What we're doing at this point is the hide has been peeled down to where he is hanging on one trolley, and he is crossing an ID. Each animal, as they come in, has a back tag, which is similar to any one of these four in my hand. If the animal has a back tag, we take a scanner like I've got in the view here, and we scan one of those tags.
Do you want to see that scanning?
The scan tag comes up on screen. Tag comes up, you'll see in the upper right hand corner that the owner's name, the owner's origin, the receiver number, the carcass ID, and the blood tube number that has been assigned to that animal from the USDA for the blood sample. The back tag is there. If the animal has an ear tag, they push the ear tag and they can enter the known value of whatever that metal ear tag would be, enter it, it puts that in. They then choose the breed, whether that be none or dairy, and then they choose the sex, whether it's a bull or a cow. It takes that information. As it goes past, you'll see it flash there. As the animal now goes downstream, a tag is printed out. A three-part tag, one that goes with each half of the carcass and one that goes along with the head. This is the ID tag for that particular animal. We'll do another one. Got a new one coming in. With a new ID, we have the same owner, we have the same receiver ID, we have the carcass ID, the blood tube number. This one, if it had an ear tag, we'd enter it. If it doesn't have one, we'll skip it. The breed, going to be no breed, and sex we're going to have the cow on this one. Now you'll watch the screen flash, and you can see it disappear off the screen. And the tag should print momentarily. Each time we do that, we have a lower chart here that shows each receiver number, and it shows how many of each have come past. This one, chart up here, is showing every animal that's in between the knock station and this blood station. Every one that we've done is in that window. So you can follow which ones are coming to you. If there's something that gets out of line, you can correct that. Each station basically gives us positive identification of the receiver number, the carcass ID, the blood tube number, the back tag, the ear tag, the breed, and the sex. Now if an animal comes by and there's no back tag, we can choose the animal with no back tag. We can choose the breed, none. We can choose the sex of the cow. We can let this animal go past, in which case it automatically assigns a back tag number, so that every animal is assigned a back tag number. That would be a number that is going to be generated from zero at the plant, and it will sequence up. The information from this system is sent to the host collection. It's also maintained in its own memory and its onboard hard drive. And this information is in a queue for the hot scale to receive as this carcass goes to the hot scale with the tag that is now on the carcass. Okay, this is the hot scale station that will be at each hot scale in the plant. At this particular place, when the carcasses come to the operator, they have a tag like this on them. The tag is then taken with a scanner, and we scan the tag. Now with the scanned ID and the receiver number comes up, that is a visible number that is human readable on the tag. Both numbers are there for confirmation. It has the option of running on a scale that weighs either the whole carcass or the half carcass, or what we split weigh, a half a carcass that would be too large to get on one scale. Due to the fact that these animals came from an operator who had a receiver, he was a residue violator. These are going to get marked as retain in cooler, just because of the fact that we know he is a known violator. His are going to get held as retained so that the USDA can further inspect that carcass in the cooler. As the carcass comes onto the scale, this happens to be on a manual scale. We enter the number of S-hooks that are being used to hold the carcass up. In this case, we had 4. If there's a grade value, we can look at the animal and give it a grade of 6. And if there was excess trim, we can use a code of 0 through 9 to identify the fact that we trimmed a percentage of this animal away, and that we are noting why the weight might be different than what the owner felt it should have been. When the carcass has been ID'd and all these pieces of information have been collected, this particular scale, being it's a manual scale, we are pushing the button to grab the weight from the scale. It's showing the gross weight, the tare weight, and the net weight. And it's now adding that carcass and putting it under receiving lot number 1020. We're up to 10 head, and we're up to 6,327 pounds. At any point in the day, I can look at the total line and see that so far today we've done 61 head and we have 40,618 pounds. We'll wait for our next animal to come. When our next animal comes, we are going to have a back tag. We scan, we have the correct number, we have the correct receiving number, S-hooks, be 6, grade, this will be a grade 2, we do not have any excess trim, and when I hit the button, it takes the weight minus the tare, giving us the net weight. Now all of this information, as it's done, is printed out on a tag that is attached to the carcass to go through the wash and into the cooler. There would be one tag for each half. The tag will get separated. The tags will get separated, and there's a hole here where they can either be pinned on or just attached to the carcass. So you can see the hole in there, and you can see how that one printing gives 2 tags. The tags that went along with the carcasses as they went into the cooler each looked like this. This particular animal had been retained. It was side number 1. It was lot number 1020, receiving lot. It was a grade 2. We had 952 pounds and had a carcass ID of 20652646. As the animal is leaving the cooler now and going to our production floor, we take this tag using a scanner. We scan the information. That information pops up on screen, and we then push the button to send it into the system. As the second half comes up, we scan the second half, and we again push the button. Normally this would happen with the input of a scale weight. See, this customer does not have a scale here, that's why we use the hand button. If there were a scale, we would be getting the weight to correlate with this. Since they plan on putting a scale in the future, but just have elected not to at this point, we have a head here that is designed to take the scale weight in with a slight program modification when they do go to that. Each carcass that gets scanned, we'll scan that ID and send it in. There is also some allowances here. If you have a half carcass that for some reason the tag is missing, you identify it as a missing tag, and it will allow you to either assume, it'll allow you to guesstimate whether that half belongs to the tag before it or the tag after it, but it'll denote in the field that it was truly a tag that had been duplicated, that had been missing, and it'll allow us to go back in through the main data collection system and check and allow for changes to be entered there. Currently, this is pulled up on the screen of the kill sequence. This is a process that we did earlier in our video showing as the cattle came in and the order at which they were going to be harvested in. This report allowed us to take cattle from the receiving pens and put them into a kill sequence. Everything that you see on this screen can also be done from a network terminal on the office network side. From here we can go to the blood pit and we can see all the animals that are currently have gone through the blood pit today, showing the date and time, the receiver number, the carcass number, the breed identifier, the sex identifier, the back tag identifier, the ear tag number, the blood tube number associated with that animal, and the blood station. We have the date. We can go back and we can search. We can grab days from days past to pull up yesterday's or the day before. We also have that same ability here at the hot station. We can see what crossed through there. We can see that we had lot number 1020 and the two animals that we just did in our demonstration. The cold scale, we also have information on the carcass number and the cold date. This is where we also enter in our customers. So in the data, as cattle are being purchased from a customer, someone in the office can look at this list, see if that purchaser is in the list as a customer, get their information in here, get the address, their name, and get a bone meal certificate, which is right in the center here. We get that authorized, get it on record so that everything is there. If they're a residue violator, you choose that. As a new customer is being started with, we will click on the customer tab, and the people in the office can do this because they'll be signing a user ID number to that operator. So we are going to make a number up here, 124578. The new operator's name is Mike Van Ruppel. Address is 2323 360th Street. City, Iowa 51014. These cattle, we get to choose whether they're company-owned, company feedlot, or private feedlot. In this case, it's a private feedlot, and the origin becomes Sioux City, Iowa. We have a bone meal certificate to issue, and we've got that signed back. And if he's a residue violator, we highlight that. And we are going to add and update that. And you can see here it added customer 123578, 124578, and has Mike Van Ruppel with the address, where I'm from, and the address and all that information is put in. That's a private feedlot, and that we've got a bone meal certificate on file for such and such a date. As those expire, Office Help is alerted to expired bone marrow certificates, and new ones can be issued. Each operator, I can choose Mike. We'll bring him back up, and we want to. He has cattle at another feedlot that he owns, and they're in Nebraska. So we can enter Allen, Nebraska, as an additional feedlot, and we're going to add that We're going to add and update that. So now when Mike is brought up a private feedlot, but when those cattle come in, they will be asked which location those animals came from, their origin place. The user account, this is the security feature that at management administration will have password to allow each user that's allowed to log in and give them access to which parts of this program they are allowed to enter data in and enter and print reports from. Their rights, you pick their username, and if we were to pick on Dick here, we'll see that Dick has access to everything. Bob only has access to some reports and to some inventories. Joe has got reports, all his reports are active, and he has access to customer information and receiver operation, but that's his. So we can set up an operator here. So if we want to set up a new one, we're going to click on New User. We're going to add Brent. And we're going to give Brent a password. And that's his password. We're going to give him rights to run the receiver. We want him to be a receiver operator. We want him to be able to do a kill sequence and access the customer information so that he can enter new customers from out at the loading chute. And we are not going to give him report totals. We are not going to give him any of these things down here, any of these sheets. But we do want him to know which ones have expired bone meal, so he doesn't unload those. The freight report, the pen inventory is important for him to be able to get to, and that's all we're going to give him access to. So we're going to add and update him to the list, and now Brent is in here, and when he logs in, he is only going to have access to those accounts. Price variables. These are the variables that you enter for the premiums that you pay for animals that are in the proper weight range and not in the proper weight range. So we have a cow section and we have a bull section. For the cows, we have the premium 600 plus weight. You have a premium in there of 4 cents. That is something that you're going to enter in. A dairy breed has a premium of, actually, a premium of 2 cents. They also have an area here to enter fetal blood for a discount. The same with the bulls. The bull scale, of course, you can see only pays premium until when you get above a certain weight is where your premium kicks in, and below. Reports. Here is where you have the ability to create the reports. And if you have access, you can look in and you can see the cooler inventory. What we see here is on this date, these are the carcass IDs and the net weight of each one of the carcasses that is in that cooler. Those are the bulls, those are the cows. And these were not identified as being bull or cow. And this is a 3-page report. We can go through to the end and we can see that we have a total of 94 head in our cooler, and actually we have a total head count of 122 at 27,000 pounds in that cooler. That can be printed on a network printer. If we have invalid carcass sides, for some reason we had some carcasses that got out of sync, or one hit the floor, or one was condemned, it would show you the number of carcasses that do not have a mate. your daily production. You choose the date at which you want to look at. You look at summary, or you can look at detail and create that report to show that today in our example we've only killed a couple of head here, and that gives us our total for our kill. That was our production that went into the control floor. The daily kill is the same situation. We can go and pull the date that we want to choose the report from. And we can see the report, whose cattle they were, all the information about them, and what it totaled up to. We have a blood report. This is a report that shows, again, the receiver ID, the blood tube number, the carcass ID, the owner, the origin location, the sex, the back tag number, the ear tag number, the breed, the grade, the trim, the amount of hooks, and what that net weight came to of that animal. We have a lot summary, which will tell us the different feedlots that came in, what the summaries were for those lots. We can choose a freight report. We do not have any freight values that we entered. Commission report. Since we've not paid any out, we do not have any in here, but as the animals are being paid for and settled out, this commission report will fill up. We also have the ability to create a random number list. Your USDA and P&S would like you to go into the cooler and create find a list of random numbers that you need to run random tests on at their request. This will do that. Sex sheet blood report.
Did you want to finish that other one? Okay.
The sex sheet here, we can show that Sean Borman cattle came in, lot 1079, 1080, 1081, 1083. Those were all owned by him. They came from different origins, and it shows the head counts. Expired meat bone certificate. This will give us a report. Right now it's blank because everyone we've just entered is current. So this would show how many bone reports have expired and the ones that need to be updated. Then we have a receiving pen inventory. What this shows us is what the cattle are out in the lot right now. Ones that we have not killed yet today, they're not in our kill order. At the end of the day, this is compared to the number of animals that have crossed the blood station. Once they've crossed the blood station and away from our initial inventory, these two lists are compared against each other, and if there's a discrepancy, the operator is asked to go and figure out why there's a discrepancy and correct that. Going forward, we have a system functions. We can reset the receiver number if the government wants us to start at a different number. We can enter in different tare weights for the roller weight, for the trolley, and for the S-hook weight. Currently, these are the only system functions that have been asked to be upgraded. For this particular plant, if you had other entrances, any system tolerances or values that would change, we would put those in under this tab. And that brings us back to starting over at receiving loads. So, receiving loads, the operator is going to start and do his thing just like we started. Gives you a complete tracking system. Thank you.